My name is Mark and I'm here to talk about my HO scale Delaware and Hudson Railroad model. When I was about 3 or 4, I don't remember exactly what the circumstances were. Either I was sick or it was my birthday or something. My father came home with a Tyco train set, and I still have some of those cars laying around. And I was 3 or 4, I couldn't have been any older than that, and I just got interested in it after that. Well, I've always had train layouts. This particular one I started in January of 2013, so it's coming up on 10 years. So when you start something like this, the biggest thing is you have to make sure you have solid track and wiring. Otherwise, your trains are never going to run and it's never going to be any fun. So that's why there's not really a lot of scenery on it right now. 10 years is a long time, but I wanted to make sure that my wiring held up and that before I start putting gravel and building and trees on the ground and having to tear it out to fix the wiring, I want to know now. One of the things I'm finishing up is wiring, and I want to clean up the wiring, and then I'm going to start putting some scenes into the layout, such as grass, trees, and buildings, a little bit at a time. So I started last year. I did the Cobleskill Passenger Depot. That was the first time I ever scratch built, and I was very satisfied with how it came out, and it actually turned out to be a lot of fun. It seemed overwhelming at first, but it turned out to be a lot of fun. I think it came out pretty good. The only thing I would do differently would be I put weathering on it with chalks, pastel chalks, and I think I beat it up a little too much, but other than that, I think it looks really good, and I think it's pretty true to the real thing. Yeah, the train station, I believe, was back to the 1800s, and in the 30s they raised it up because in that area they took a lot of the railroad crossings out and put overpasses in their place. So they raised it up and modernized it, and from left to right it had a railway express agency, and there was an agent in there, and that was basically like Amazon before Amazon was Amazon. They'd have packages come in on train cars, and they would take off packages and put other ones on and send them out. Then moving to the right, they had the passenger baggage area. They had a scale inside there. I'm not finished with the interior yet, but they had a scale inside there, and then they had an agent who would weigh the luggage, and they would put it on the train, and they would pay by weight. Then they had the passenger waiting room, and to the right, in the era, the 1970s, late 70s, early 80s, there was a track gang shop. So that was their shop, and they would do rail repairs. They would work out of there for fixing track. When I put the station on Facebook, on a group for the real railroad, a lot of retirees came out and said it brought back memories because it looked just like where they worked. And they started telling me stories about the interior, and then one lady sent a very nice message about how it brought back memories when she worked there, and she had her Chevy Corvair parked out in front. I never found out the color, so I went with red. I do have it, but it's not here right now. I started last year on the Park Theater, it's an iconic building in Cobleskill, right near the train station. And I started it, and I'm halfway through it. And then I also built a model of the house that my father had when I was a child. That was actually along an abandoned branch of the Delaware and Hudson Railroad. That was a dairy branch. It was removed in 1956, and we had the house that was still there. And I did that, and I also put asbestos shingles on it and a metal roof, and I did the interior. And I have a building that I had bought a kit for, and the wood kits are very hard, so Cobleskill Coal, which is also right in that area by the station. I'm going to do that one next, probably not till next summer because I like to use spray paint and it's easier to do that outside. And the house that my father had, I'm planning on doing through a course of building from scratch and building from kits the entire street. When it's not aggravating, it's actually very relaxing, this hobby. It's just something I enjoy, and if I get bored with it sometimes, I walk away for a month, and then, I decide I want to come back down and work on it and pick up where I left off, I do that.